Hey, hi there. It's been a while, but I am out in my garden today, and there's just so much that's making me happy that I thought I would do a little bit of a walkabout and share some of the highlights with you. I'll start by giving you an overview of the backyard garden, and then we'll walk through the front, but just, kind of give you a sense of what the overall picture is. Back over here, this is a little tucked in nook, little seating area, which in high summer is really nice place to be because you're really just kind of tucked in and in the garden. And house is back there. Gonna go along. This path here, this is actually pretty much the view that I get to enjoy when I'm working in my studio. And it's a small little garden, but tons and tons of plants, lots of plants. So we'll come back through and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of these plants. But that gives you an idea of the overview, and then we connect up to the front garden this way. So kind of a narrow side yard garden. And pretty messy right now because it's more of a workstation than a dining table right now, but this dining patio, when it warms up and when it's a little bit more pleasant out, is another important part of the garden. And that back doors to the house, and then this goes into my studio there. And that connects this way. And the front garden is down that way. And out front, we have lots of stuff, fun stuff going on as well. So I'm going to give you an overview, and then we'll go back and we'll look at a few details and kind of talk about what's going on. But just lots of color through there. And so that gives you an idea of the context, and I'll step back and actually look at it from the street here too. So that's the full front garden. So I have a 50 by 100 foot lot, and I grow hundreds and hundreds of plants. So let's go take a look at a few. Each year, different things just kind of really come to the fore and really kind of strut their stuff. So this Trillium has been sitting in my garden for several years, and it's bloomed, and it's been very nice, but this year it decided to go gangbusters. So it's been blooming for weeks, and the flowers came out white. They're aging to this beautiful pink, and it's just super happy there, and I'm happy to have it. I have a love-hate relationship with Heuchera, and today it's more of a love, mostly, because the fresh growth is coming through, and all the imperfections of the tattered leaves and the bite marks and all of that, they're kind of pushing through that. And they're one of the plants that I use to, kind of create a color link between different parts of the garden. And I keep them. I haven't bought new ones for back here in quite a while. I just kind of move them and divide them, and like as they heave out of the ground, I'll make divisions and just plump them along the path at different points. And some of them just really wake up and do a fantastic job. So these are looking pretty darn good. And just all the way back through, they really do a good job of, kind of connecting different sections of the garden. Along this section, I'm using some Heucheras, but Also, I have added, and these are much more recent. Like in the last couple of years, I've really kind of beefed up my Heucherellas. So look at that fantastic color. These will not take the direct and intense sun, so make sure you site them properly for that. But really, just beautiful colors, those coral tones, and I'm just loving this combination right here with those two. So that is a Heucherella, not a Heuchera. They look very similar, very, very similar, but they're different plants, although close cousins. And here's another one. And so I just do those all the way through. So most of them along here in that coral tone are Heucherella, and they're repeats of the same variety, which then give us that linking of colors down the line that we're looking for. All right, plant highlight. There's some visual clutter in here, but I decided I wanted to show it to you anyways. This is a new to me Ajuga, and I don't grow Ajuga in the ground in my garden because they have a tendency to be, pretty aggressive, and I don't really like to grow plants that really want to colonize too aggressively in my garden where I'm growing so many plants. So a good solution for me was to plant this as a ground cover in these big containers, and I'm going to let it populate that whole area, and I think that's going to be really pretty, and also serve as kind of a living mulch. So I did it in this large container and this large container, and obviously that's still a work in process, but I am hopeful that it's going to do just what I hoped. It's early in the season for this section of the garden. This will be just full of summer blooms for the pollinators, but the foliage is just now emerging, and you can see the promise of things to come. But right now, things are just getting going. This is the sunniest spot in my garden, and so I'm growing things that I can't grow in other parts of my garden, and they are the types of plants that they just want sun, and so I'm able to give it to them here in a way that I can't in other parts of the garden. So we'll give you updates through the season on this section, but it's just right up in the front. And I get to see it every day when I'm coming home and coming and going. This front slope just brings me great joy. Once upon a time, not long ago, it was entirely different. And it had a big 9-bark in there that basically occupied that whole area. And it was beautiful, and I grew it for many years, and I loved it. And then I decided that it was too big, and there was just an opportunity to grow a lot more plants, change it up, and have some fun. So I did that. And this is, I don't know, a couple to several years in, and it's early in the season. It's here in spring, and I've got so much going on, and then so much more to come. So which plants are really looking fantastic here? I love this dwarf conifer. It's a little thuya. That's an arborvitae, believe it or not. Kind of a round, self-dwarfing bun. That one's called Autumn Moon. So I was just out in the nurseries in the Portland area, and I wasn't able to find that one, but I am hopeful that it will come back out on the market, and I highly recommend. Got my allium show starting. This is a choisia with that golden foliage. Many of you, know Sundance, choisia Sundance. It's very similar to that, but it's called it's gold fingers. That barberry back there is orange rocket. Really just shows fantastic color this time of year. And the star of the show, and the reason for being is I love this rhododendron. This is Rhododendron Medusa, and she just blooms her head off and looks great. It's really kind of a central feature in the front garden. These plantings here, kind of divide us from the street, but are not so um, dense that we aren't connected. So it's really nice to sit in this front patio, particularly in the spring when this is our sunniest and best location in the garden in the late afternoon when we're hanging out. And it's just incredibly pleasant. And we get to say hello to neighbors as they go by. So definitely a favorite part of the garden. And you can see it's just right there on the front, very close to the street. Hey, thanks for joining me in the garden today. Sometimes I kind of feel like it's a little bit random what I focus on when I'm walking through the garden, but it is just kind of what catches my eye at any particular moment. Do come back, and different things catch my eye at different times. So it's always a little different. If there's things that you'd like to see in the garden or like to see me focus on in terms of types of plants, or looking at a particular section in a more in-depth way, by all means leave me a message in the comments and I'll do my best to do that. So I do hope that you'll come back. The garden changes a lot through the season, and I love to share it with you. So see you next time.